What was the Zuiyo Maru carcass? This is all things creepy. Let's begin. In 1977, off the coasts of New Zealand, Japanese fishing trawler Zuiyo Maru pulled up this gigantic rotting carcass in one of its nets. It weighed close to 2,000 kilograms and was approximately 10 meters in length, the neck making up about 1.5 of those meters. It had 4 reddish fins and a tail, but no dorsal fin. Any internal organs had drifted out to sea, but there was a decent amount of fat and skeletal tissue remaining. Naturally, the crew themselves were very shocked to see this. As you can see, it superficially resembles one of the most iconic prehistoric sea creatures, the Plesiosaur. And of course, based on the fossil record, plesiosaurs died out 65 million years ago. So for this to be a even recently deceased specimen, it would be quite a finding, perhaps the finding of the century. Discovering an animal recently alive that was thought to have been extinct for so many years could be compared to the findings of the coelacanth. But this story isn't quite so simple. You see, the captain, for unknown reasons, decided to discard this specimen, throw it back out to sea. Now, some arguments suggest that maybe it would have taken up too much room, and being a profit-minded person, he opted to throw it away in exchange for larger stocks of fish. Maybe he was simply a very experienced seagoer and knew that this was not a plesiosaur and something he'd seen before, and so didn't see much value in keeping it. Or, as the more conspiratorially minded seem to think, the specimen was actually recovered and is locked away somewhere top secret. Well, it turns out, although the specimen itself was discarded, several very small tissue samples were taken for further analysis. And whilst this specimen was heavily decayed, they were able to get some DNA readings. And much to cryptozoology's dismay, the DNA results showed that it was indeed a very large shark, specifically the carcass of a giant basking shark. Now, that may baffle some of you, but let me explain. You see, this fits the general size parameters for a basking shark, and the weight as well. But of course, the confusion lies in the shape of it. Basking sharks obviously don't have a long neck. It's arguable that they barely have a neck at all, having the head just attached directly to the body. Well, to explain this, we need to look at the stages of shark decay, specifically the basking shark. Basking sharks are cartilaginous animals, so their skeletons are a little bit weaker than us bony animals. And so after dying, it's much easier for certain elements of the skeleton to break and fall away, especially particularly big and heavy sections. For instance, in the basking shark, it has a very large and expansive mouth, but the mouth itself, skeletally, is quite flimsy. It's mostly supported by muscle, and when the body decays and dies, the muscle is one of the first things to go. So you have this flimsy frame of a jaw left attached, and before long it falls away, leaving the small length of spine and the snout where the nostrils would be located, thus giving the classic small head, long neck that we very quickly associate with the prehistoric plesiosaur. As the analysis shows, a lot of the internal organs of this creature, if not all of them, had fallen away, so this thing had probably been floating around for quite a while, and before long it would have sunk to the bottom, never to be seen again. And I'm sure to some of you, the fact that this is just an ordinary, fairly common marine animal is pretty disappointing. But for me, I will always be drawn to the curious mystery of globsters, and in trying to explain them, perhaps one day we will come across one that we simply cannot. Maybe one day something strange, perhaps a creature from the past, will wash up on a beach near you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video if you did, share it with a friend, and of course, if you haven't already, subscribe for more creepy content.